Across the narrow sea in Braavos, dragons can sometimes still be glimpsed sailing across the secret city's canals. For you see, when a future king met a pirate queen, a new dynasty was formed, one made of fire and blood. Their children would be the dragons that few would ever know exist. Their names and their history would be the makings of legend. They would be the lost heirs of the Iron Throne. How did a son of the dragon find himself in Braavos embroiled in a decades-long affair? And did their union truly produce Targaryen heirs, or was that mere rumor? To better understand, let's recount their story. It was the year 161 AC. Princess Naerys Targaryen had just given birth to twins. The children would not live long. The princess herself nearly followed them into the grave. She would need time and care to recover. However, her husband and brother, Prince Aegon, was a man of insatiable lust, a man without sentiment. His wife's delicate health never prevented him from claiming what he considered to be his rights as a husband. His appetites were well known in the court of the Red Keep, but before he could fall upon his sister again, their cousin, King Baelor, devised a plan. He would send Aegon away to Braavos on what was called a diplomatic mission. Aegon must sow his wild oats elsewhere, which he wasted no time doing. In Braavos, Prince Aegon met with a woman by the name of Bellegre Otherys. The World Book tells us she was a smuggler, a trader, occasionally a pirate, and the captain of the ship Widow Wind. We are not told how or when the two crossed paths. Perhaps Bellegere captured Aegon's ship and accused him of being a rebel and a traitor. He had to explain he was on a diplomatic mission from Westeros, and the two bonded over the misunderstanding. Perhaps they met at a gathering of Braavosi notability. Bellegere was of royal birth herself. Her father was once the Sea Lord of Braavos, and her mother a princess of the Summer Isles. Bellegere had skin as black as a pot of ink, which inspired her name, the Black Pearl. Aegon and Bellegere would have 3 children together, 2 daughters, Bellanora and Narha, and a son named Balerion. During this time, Aegon would have more children of his own with many other mistresses. Bellegere herself was said to have a husband in every port. Though they were hardly faithful to one another, their affair would last for over a decade. So, is there any way that we can know if Bellegere's 3 children belonged to Aegon? Of this, we can never be sure. Paternity tests do not exist in this world of ice and fire. However, I believe there are clues to suggest that at least one of Bellegere's children was blood of the dragon. Bellegere named her only son Balerion. Once upon a time, this was the name of a Valyrian god, but it was also the name of a dragon, the Mount of Aegon the Conqueror. Balerion's scales and wings were black. Even his fire was black, with only hints of red. The boy Balerion would have inherited shades of his mother's dark skin. With his father's Valyrian blood, he too would be a black dragon. By naming him Balerion, Bellegere must have been certain she knew his father's identity. We've seen this before in the series, a woman naming her child in honor of the father through some less than subtle means. An unnamed sex worker in King's Landing names her daughter Barba after the child's father, King Robert Baratheon. Barba had some of her father's strong features, like his jet black hair and bright blue eyes. Perhaps Balerion had some of his father's features as well. Bellanora and Narha could be names of the Summer Isles like Chataia and Alayaya, or they could be Braavosi. Braavos is based partly on Venice in Italy, and their names do have a certain Italian flair, which could suggest they were not the daughters of Aegon Targaryen. Still, Bellegere's descendants live on in Braavos today. The current Black Pearl is also named Bellegere. She is a courtesan, one of the most famous of the city because of her great beauty. There are tales whispered of her dragon blood, which seems to suggest she might have Valyrian features. Perhaps not the hair or the eyes, but something else that people can see in her face that looks distinctly Valyrian. Or maybe the rumors of her special lineage enhances her natural beauty. It leads people to see what isn't actually there. Bellanora, Narha, and Balerion are recorded to have their mother's last name, Otherys. They were bastard-born, but there doesn't appear to be any Braavosi custom for such naming situations like there is in Westeros. Bellegere's situation is quite interesting. Many of Aegon's other mistresses sent his children to King's Landing's court. Bellegere's children, however, remained with her in Braavos. Maybe it was the journey she didn't trust. Maybe she didn't want to be that distant from her children. Or maybe Bellegere didn't think it was necessary to send them away. Maybe she thought the act of fostering her children elsewhere unthinkable. Lady Mellario, the estranged wife of Doran Martell, was also of the Free Cities, and she was horrified of the idea of sending her children away to be raised by others. She never forgave Doran for sending their son Quentyn away, and when he suggested he would send their daughter Arianne away as well, she threatened to harm herself. There was a time, however, when King Aegon threatened to name one of his bastard sons as heir over his true-born son Daeron, which means Balerion could have been summoned to court. Luckily, this did not happen. His half-brother Daeron was mistrusted by the nobles of the realm because he was part Dornish. They treated him like he was foreign-born. There's a bit of xenophobia in Daeron's story. I doubt things would have gone better for the Braavosi-born Balerion. But one final thing of importance. On his deathbed, Aegon, now a king, the fourth of his name, declared all of his bastards to be legitimate. Every single seed he had sown could now claim the name Targaryen. This news may never have reached Bellegere and her children. The books do frustratingly little with their characters. However, it is interesting to know that if Balerion married and had sons, and his sons had sons, they would be Targaryens, the lost heirs of the Iron Throne.